Hey guys, this is Mountain Walk, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Foundations, the newest pseudo core set for Magic, which is great, right? Great because core sets are, you got to have this sort of basis of your formats for your rotating formats, um, but also not great because who knows what Wizards is doing these days. All over the place, all over the place. So let's talk about it. Let's get started, and let's see if we can make a good format. I'm going to be talking about a little bit about what I think would be good for a new sort of rotating standard format with a new pseudo core set that's going to be legal for like at least 5 years, 6 years, maybe quote unquote forever. Um, let's get something interesting going on. Let's get some new good stuff going on. So um, let's start out with that. We want new, good, powerful, interesting cards that, again, generally more reactive in nature is more interesting, right? They're able to deal with threats. You want a lot of good threats, of course. You don't want just like the best deck to be mono blue control, 100 counter spells, and then you die. Like, it's not really not great, but we want good threats and good answers, right? And so that's sort of the idea I have with this. And of course, the whole thing isn't going to be um, I don't want to say chronologically. What's the word I'm looking for? From top to bottom. It's not exactly like, oh, this is the shittiest card you can add, and one is the best card you could add. It's just kind of stuff I'm thinking about, and not exactly arranged in a sense of power level, so to speak. But generally, really annoying cards that would be too powerful to see in a certain sense, which we'll talk about in a second, are less likely to be reprinted here or printed, I guess, since this will also have new cards like all the M10 and post sort of core sets, whereas everything previously, um, 8th edition, 9th edition, 7th edition, so on and so forth, only had reprints. Um, so I don't really want to talk about the sort of basic stuff of like negate, duress, shock, or whatever that will see reprint basically in any set or core set or whatever, just because they're not interesting. They don't take up a ton of space in the set, and they just do exactly what they do, and they can fit in basically anything. I'm thinking of cards that are a little different, a little more interesting, a little more power. So we want something a little more exciting, is what I'm talking about. Yeah, duress should always be basically in standard. Same thing with shock. Same thing with negate. You know, um, that's great. But let's change it up a little bit. All right, and also considering WotC's current dispositions, uh, they want a lot of reasons for people to buy um, cards that are old or whatever, and maybe new cards, right? So, that's got to be a sort of a certain idea. So there's a lot of incentive for them to print powerful old cards that have not been printed in a long time and also are not reserve lists. So let's consider that, although that's not really what I'm typically thinking about, but that's something that's probably going to be thought about with Wizards. And hopefully this set isn't a Pioneer or Standard Horizons, but so I won't treat it as such with my suggestions generally. But let's get to things that I think will not be reprinted, I think. Okay, so these are cards that are just a little too good, or too good, or just are too good for being in the format for like 5 years. I think maybe probably Cryptic Command is the one that's like the most unlikely to be reprinted. Maybe it's hard to say. Cryptic does a lot for 4 mana. It is arguably too much for standard, but it's a really powerful card. And 5 years of it, I could see would be too much. Again, the same thing with all of these cards, except maybe for one. Port, same thing. Again, Magic is not what it was in 2000 when Port was really good in every deck. But when you can splash, you know, you can play 3 colors, no problem, easy peasy. Yeah, Port's a little more problematic. So that's something I don't really want to have in my standard format for 5 years. It's not impossible for it to be reprinted, but man, I don't know about that. Destructive Flow. It's sort of the same thing as Port, but it's worse because it doesn't really ask too much of you once you can meet the baseline like black, red, green. It's powerful. It's really powerful. It didn't see that much play, right, when it was in standard at the time. But I'm a little... I'm pretty concerned about Remand. Definitely really powerful card. Would be ubiquitous. Probably too much for 5 years of it. I mean, I don't know how many people want to see their stuff remanded multiple times. Not great. And of course, Armageddon. Armageddon is just really, really good. Probably just a little too much. And I mean, they haven't even reprinted it in any of the Modern Horizon sets, which is a shame. It's a shame if you ask me. But Armageddon, yeah, this is a powerful card. Really powerful. I like it a lot, but probably, I guess let's just say no. Let's say no. Okay, Flame Tongue Kavu, great, powerful. I always think of, when I think of FTK, I think of Chupacabra, right? Ravenous Chupacabra, which was not overpowering in its format. FTK is obviously better in the fact that it's got more attack, right? It's a 4/2, more strength, a little bit of a bigger boy. But you can't play it on an empty board, which is not exactly much of an advantage. So yeah, that's a little not really exactly much of an advantage in the point of Chupacabra, but yeah, if I had to deal with 5 years of FTK where FTK was the best thing going, I might be a little annoyed, but I mean, again, it depends on how they're crafting these sets. So FTK, not a big deal, no biggie. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad, to be honest. Okay, Lightning Strike. I mean, I just basically view this as a better, well, it obviously is a better Volcanic Hammer. Good, powerful card. I don't think it's too much. It's one that they haven't really seen to reprint all the time, every time, in any place like Shock. So let's just reprint it. Okay, Mishra's Factory. So they had Mishra's Foundry in was it Dominaria United? No, it was Brothers War. Brothers War had Mishra's Foundry. I'm not super. I mean, the card's fine. It's definitely not ubiquitous as is. I don't think Mishra's Factory would be too much. It's a nice, older, powerful card that could mostly fit in pretty well, especially with decks that want to be like, I want to play 1 million colors. I want to play 1 million colors, and that's It's a little much. A little much. I think a factory might be a better way to, what's the word I'm looking for? A better way to uh, tamp down on these multicolor impulses, right? Just play all the colors and all the best cards. Factory definitely sort of tamps down on that a little bit, and so I like it a lot. City of Brass. I mean, this one's real simple, real simple. Play the best cards, pay the best price. That's right, one life per card. Life doesn't matter, right? Who cares about life except when you're paying multiples of return? I like City of Brass. It offers great incentives. Um, it teaches a lot, of lessons, and that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. So let's do that. Painlands, basically everything I said about City of Brass, same thing here. Painlands plus another set of non-Painlands for fixing. Great, absolutely great. I love it. Good stuff, and really helps out mana bases, but keeps them from being too greedy. Too greedy. Okay, so we got Mana War. Mana War is a sweet card. Does what you want to do. Good old card. Lots of nostalgia, right, for a lot of old players, and definitely not broken. Not broken. Stroke of Genius, same thing. Not actually on the reserve list. Does a lot of good stuff if you have a lot of mana or whatever, or in control decks. That's fine. Not a super exciting card. I guess. I mean, because like most stuff is, most decks, it's hard for controls to get to 1,000,000 mana to really make Stroke of Genius worth it. Get 7 mana, draw 4 cards is not really exciting at instant speed, but it's something. So yeah, it's a solid card, but I don't think it's really gonna break the game, so to speak. Okay, Urza's Lance. This one I'm definitely really not super sure of, because then it's like you have to be really careful about what kind of artifact creatures you print. But I like that there are some things, like for Foundations 2, wherever you could change this out, but for some things you can have like a really good powerful incentive to do, like, oh, I've got, powerful, awesome colorless deck, or whatever. So yeah, that is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like it. Rampant Growth. Sort of the same thing. Obviously, you just have to, play, well, forests. But Rampant Growth, I think, is pretty interesting. I don't think really Rampant Growth has ever really been broken. It is a very powerful card, though, and one that I would probably like to see. Of course, you could put Sakura Tribe Elder in this place, even though Elder is a lot worse when no damage on the stack. Okay, Galero Subdual. I think this is just a cool build-around card with a lot of sweet creatures and creature tokens for this, and I think that's sweet and it's super fun to use, and I think that's the best way to do it. Mm. I don't think it's broken. I think it's interesting. But yeah, it's not opposition. Opposition, of course, being monocolored and be able to tap lands. But it is a sweet card. Sweet card. Mana Leak. This one is probably the most controversial. I don't really have any problems with powerful counter spells, especially when they're somewhat limited, right? Like this, like Mana Leak. It's a good card. It's powerful, 2 mana, but there is counterplay. Just like wait until turn X 3 plus X, where X is the number of turns, right? Like whatever. Leak is good. I don't think it's too broken. It is a really powerful card, but there's probably not enough time to go over that. So yeah, let's just move on. Okay, Tog. I think Tog is just a fun, old, nostalgic, sweet card. I don't think it's going to be as good as it was in, Invasion Odyssey, because it's missing about, like, I don't know, 20, 30 of its, if it's, friends, right, that actually made the card good. I mean, like, it can turn your cards into resources very, very efficiently, which worked really well back then when they were still printing dumb, stupid, broken blue cards. Like, not even talking about Upheaval, which was broken, but FOF, Circular Logic, Force Spike, Mana, Memory Lapse, Mana. Oh no, Mana Leak wasn't legal at the time. It was just Counterspell, just regular Counterspell. So on and so forth. It's just a lot of really broken stuff. I think Psychotog would be a fun, good way to build decks and Standard and Pioneer, and not too broken because it misses so many of its friends. I mean, think about Cunning Wish, no Cunning Wish. Anyways. Yeah, Condemn. I like Condemn. No problem here. Just a good, fair, efficient, extremely efficient removal spell. Not a lot to say here. I don't think there's anything problematic about this. It's like a very fair Swords to Plowshares. So, yeah, there you go. Field. Field I like because Field is very good against utility lands, or maybe decks that like too many non-basics and so on and so forth. So Field is a nice sort of way to keep things under control in format, so I love it. Okay, Garruk. I love Garruk. It's a powerful card. It's a good card. Just does all the good stuff all the time. And yeah, I mean, there's not a lot more to say. It's just a solid mid-range or maybe control threat that gives you mana, gives you dorks, or gives you a finisher. Best sort of planeswalker, I would say, in my opinion. Elspeth. Basically the same thing as Garruk, just a different color. Does good stuff for that color. Makes your stuff a little better, per turn, as well as makes your stuff really not die at all, ever. So, yeah, Elspeth is very sweet. Arc Lightning. Now you're thinking, why would I want Arc Lightning? Well, it tamps down on like powerful sort of tokens strategies, or anything with a ton of like little dorks, that kind of stuff. It's just a good, powerful card, and when you have to launch it at face 3 mana, 3 damage isn't embarrassing in Standard. So, yeah, that's not too bad. Chandra, yeah, just the same thing, just a good planeswalker. Deals damage, produces mana, gives you cards, has some stupid emblem. Basically modern Magic in a nutshell. But it is a good card. It is sweet, and I don't think it would be overwhelming as a top end for a lot of decks, and for many years, 5 years or whatever. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's nice. Big fan. Goblin Chainwhirler. This card is sweet. I think it's a great way to counteract the Llanowar Elves and other tokens and stuff like that, right? That are going to be all over the place, because we are getting a Llanowar Elves reprint, right, with Foundations, and Chainwhirler is very good against that. So whether it's Mono Red or a Goblins deck or red splash whatever color. Yeah, very sweet card, very powerful card, and really is good against a whole lot of stuff. Okay, and why is Fatal Push number one? I like Fatal Push because it's great at killing stuff. If you want to kill stuff that's a little bit more than 2 mana, you gotta work for it. You gotta work for it, and that's pretty sweet. That's pretty strong. In a format without fetch lands, I like Push as a sort of removal spell that kills weak stuff and you can work for it to kill big stuff. I like these sort of powerful conditional counter spells. So yeah, Push is great. I mean, obviously Push with fetchlands is ridiculously good. Push without fetchlands is a lot more balanced. And that's kind of how I like to see Standard. Powerful, but not overpowered. So yeah, that's basically it. So I hope you Deadheads are really excited for this. I'm super excited for Foundations. I can't wait to see what they print and or reprint. I hope we're revitalizing Standard. That would be great. That would be the best. But who knows what's gonna happen. So thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this and have a great day.